Every Halloween, we open our doors to strangers, trusting the costumes and candy to keep it all innocent. But sometimes, the knock at the door is more than just a game. Tonight's stories show what happens when a trick-or-treater refuses to leave, and when kids dare each other to approach a house that should have stayed empty. These are true Halloween encounters where curiosity and kindness turn into unforgettable fear. This story was sent to me by someone named Kevin. He told me he doesn't answer the door on Halloween anymore. He just leaves the candy outside. If you've ever handed out candy on Halloween, you know the rhythm of the night. At first, it's chaos. Groups of kids crowding your porch, costumes spilling across the sidewalk, parents calling out reminders. Then it slows. By 9 o'clock, you're down to a trickle. By 10, the streets are empty, porch lights flicked off one by one. It's quiet again, like the night resets itself. That year, I was in my late 20s, living alone in a small neighborhood. I liked passing out candy, seeing the costumes, laughing with the kids. It reminded me of being little, running house to house until my pillowcase nearly tore from the weight. Halloween night was normal. Dozens of kids came early, their voices echoing through the crisp fall air. I sat by the door with my bowl, smiling as they shouted, "Trick or treat," and scrambled away comparing what they'd scored. By 9:30, the flow had slowed. I checked my phone, stacked the empty wrappers, ready to turn off the porch light. That's when I heard the bell. I opened the door to find a single kid standing there. He wore a plain black hoodie and a cheap white mask, smooth and blank except for the eye holes. No parents in sight. No group nearby. Just him. "Trick or treat," he said quietly. I dropped a candy bar into his bag, forcing a smile. "Happy Halloween." He didn't answer, just turned and walked down the steps. I brushed it off. Maybe he was shy. But 10 minutes later, the bell rang again. I opened the door. Same kid, same mask. "Trick or treat," I laughed nervously. "Didn't I just see you?" He didn't answer, just held his bag open. I tossed in another candy bar. He walked away. By the third time, my chest felt tight. He stood there again, silent, the mask glowing faintly under the porch light. "All right, buddy," I said, trying to sound firm. "That's enough." He tilted his head slightly, then turned and walked away. I shut the door, locked it, and turned off the porch light. Enough was enough. But have you ever had the sense that even though the night should be over, something isn't? Like the rhythm never resets and you're just waiting for the knock? That's how it felt. Near midnight, the doorbell rang again. I froze. The house was dark, the candy was gone, no one should be there. Still, I crept to the door and peeked through the peephole. He stood there, same mask, same hoodie. But this time he wasn't holding a candy bag. His empty hands hung at his sides. I stumbled back, my heart hammering. The doorbell rang again, longer this time. Then 3 sharp knocks. I held my breath, clutching my phone, ready to dial 911. But after a moment, silence. I didn't look through the peephole again. Eventually, I convinced myself it was a prank. Some older kid messing with me. Years went by, and I stopped thinking about it. On Halloween nights, I even started passing out candy again, trying to enjoy it the way I used to. Then last year, around 10:30, my doorbell rang. When I opened it, a lone kid stood there in a black hoodie. He wasn't wearing a mask. But when I dropped candy into his bag, he didn't say a word. He just tilted his head, the exact same way I remembered. And that was enough. Because now I know, some knocks you never outgrow. And I'll never stop dreading the late-night trick-or-treater. This story was sent to me by someone named Megan. She told me that even now, when her kids go trick-or-treating, she never lets them walk up to a porch without her. Do you remember being a kid on Halloween and daring each other to do something stupid? There was always that one house you avoided. Maybe the lights were off, the yard overgrown, or rumors floated around about who used to live there. But if you were in a group, someone always suggested it. Bet you won't knock on that door. I was 10 years old the year this happened. Me, my brother, and 3 of our neighborhood friends were trick-or-treating without adults for the first time. That freedom felt huge. We cut across yards, ran ahead of the younger kids, and bragged about how much candy we'd collect by the end of the night. Every house on our street was glowing with jack-o'-lanterns, except one. It sat halfway down the block, shutters half broken, weeds pushing through the cracked sidewalk. No decorations, no porch light, no candy bowl. Just dark windows reflecting the streetlight. Of course, someone dared us. "Come on," my friend whispered, pointing. "Let's see who's brave enough to knock." We laughed nervously, shoving each other, but deep down, my stomach churned. You know that feeling when you don't want to look like a coward, even though every instinct is telling you to run? That was me, as my brother pushed me toward the gate. The air felt colder near that house. The grass was damp, and the wood of the porch creaked as I stepped onto it. My shoes left faint prints in the dust. I raised my hand to knock. That's when I noticed it. The door wasn't shut all the way. It hung slightly open, just enough to show a thin strip of darkness inside. I froze, my knuckles inches from the wood. Behind me, my friends giggled nervously. "Do it," one hissed. And then I saw movement. Just inside the gap, past the sliver of darkness, a figure shifted. A person standing completely still, watching. My heart slammed against my ribs. I stumbled back a step, whispering, "Someone's in there." The others laughed until they saw my face. Then they went silent. Down the street, an adult neighbor waved and shouted for us to hurry up. His voice was sharp, urgent. I looked back at the doorway. The figure hadn't moved, but I could feel it. Whoever they were waiting. The neighbor's voice came again, louder this time. "Get away from there." That was all it took. We bolted. Our bags of candy thumped against our legs as we sprinted toward the street, laughter dying into panicked gasps. When we looked back, the door was closed. We argued the whole way home about what we saw. Some said it was my imagination. Others swore they saw the outline too. The next day, in the daylight, we went back. The house looked empty. Dust covered the windows. No footprints on the porch but ours. For years, I convinced myself it was just shadows and fear, that maybe my imagination ran wild. Eventually, I stopped thinking about it. Then, one October night years later, I was driving through my old neighborhood. My kids were in the back seat, pointing at the decorated houses. As we passed that same street, my stomach dropped. The house was still there, still dark, still run down, and through the window, in the glow of a passing car's headlights, I swear, I saw the outline of someone standing perfectly still, watching. And just like that, the fear came flooding back. Because once you've seen someone waiting in the dark like that, you never let your kids go up to a porch alone again. Halloween ends when the lights go out, but the fear doesn't. The stories you heard tonight are real, and they remind us that the scariest things aren't in haunted houses. They're right outside your door. If you want more true horror like this, make sure you're subscribed, because the next knock you hear might not be a trick-or-treater.